Every single one of you in this room is a creative personality. Every single one of you has everything that it takes to become what our research calls a sales genius. A person who produces surprising, remarkable work because of a unique insight and their ability to do it over and over and over again. The reason I say this when I start is because you hear a lot about innovation and creativity. You see speeches on TED Talks, but they always seem geared towards product and marketing. They always seem geared towards the entrepreneur to be innovative. Somehow, sales has become a numbers game, but not in my case. In my case, I believe sales is a pictures game, just like any other part of creative work. There are 3 steps. Step number 1 is to expand. If you aren't expanding, you're contracting, because the universe is changing, and it's changing fast. If you don't expand your creative capacity, you literally can't compete for business. The second step, once you expand that creative capacity, is to bring it to work every day. Every time you face a problem, I call them roadblocks on the way to the done deal, you enter into a creative conversation. The opposite of creativity isn't destructiveness. The opposite of creativity is conventional thinking. And when people stop coming to the convention, it's time to change the business. And I'll talk later on about how I've seen a lot of pivots against the funnel system, against the existing sales system to get the good deal done, and they're all creative. The last idea is to recruit the customer and your colleagues to play with you. I've learned that if you can lead people to use their imagination, you can get unstuck very quickly. As a matter of fact, I think in the future of sales, whether you're an entrepreneur raising money, or whether you're an account-carrying salesperson, or whether you support sales, this is going to be what leadership is all about. The ability to get the other side to drop convention for the sake of convention when it's not working and play. Now I'm going to date myself a little bit because I'm in my 50s, but do you remember Columbo? Columbo was curious. Columbo always had one more question, and he always came back, and he was precocious, but he was that way because he could see getting the case closed behind curiosity. And that's kind of what drove me throughout my career, is I always attached taking care of my family with curiosity. And I always believe that we have to differentiate as sales professionals, and the most curious person, according to our research, is usually the top performer. In fact, we learned when we looked at 3,000 middle-of-the-road performers against 450 top performers, what we saw is the top performers were almost 3 times more likely to have creative interests than an average performer. Average performer likes to veg on the weekends. They like to do repetitive tasks. The top performer likes to solve problems because creativity is just problem solving. That's all it is. The other thing that we learned is that the readership, the curiosity level, the number of questions they ask, the number of people they talk to, say in engineering or sales engineering, is 2 times higher for the top performers than the average performer. So my argument here is, obviously it's the source of your success, and this is a way that you can go home and lead other people in your group to someday join the club. What the like device creates is a shortcut in the mind that helps a person see an image. So I used the like device back in 2001 when I went on the great ad agency tour to try to convince creatives that there was brand value even if the consumer doesn't click on the ad unit, especially a rich media one. And at the time we take that as a no-brainer, but it was like pushing a ball up a hill then. So I used a like device called the iceberg. And it was a visualization of an iceberg and value delivered with digital media, where everything above the water was clicks and everything below the water was post-click impressions. That was a very useful device, and it triggered what I now call the 25-200 rule of sales. Have you heard this one? It's not taught in business school. The 25-200 rule says, anything you can do across your system to reduce the time it takes a prospect to decide by 25% will increase sales volume by 200%. Reduce the time it takes to decide by 25, increase the volume by a factor of 8 to 1. And a shortcut, like an illustration, is the key to making that successful. Last point I want to make to you is recruit others to join you. Sometimes you can't do it on your own. If you get the customer to play with you, the world changes. One device, I'll tell you, use this one if you have to, it'll work. It's called the acquisition exercise. So I was working on a deal with Hewlett-Packard. We needed to close this deal, and we needed to come in at about $28 million booked for 3 years. And we had to get this deal done before the quarterly earnings announcement. We'd been whispering for a long time we were going to replace the Compaq deal, et cetera, et cetera. I've been working with this group of buyers at HP and their agency for 3 days behind closed doors, and they just weren't buying our ideas. We presented them all the different ways we could create value, and they were like devil's advocate all over the place. But their senior executive, Ann Livermore, was somewhat sympathetic to the idea that there should be some synergy between the two companies. So as a kind of a desperation play on the last day of our meetings, at lunchtime, I said, okay, here's what I want to do. I'm going to go get sushi. And it was a place, Blue Devil. It was up in Palo Alto. It was the best sushi. I said, I'm going to go get Toro rolls. I made a big list of all the great things I was going to get for the HP team. I said, here's what I want you to do. Everybody clear the whiteboards. Give everybody magic markers. And you're the #2 person at the company. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to play through a scenario while we're gone. I want you to imagine that Carly Fiorina, your boss, just bought us and you just got the announcement that HP just acquired Yahoo for a whopping $22 billion at the time. At the time we were trading around 19. And she has just called you and told you that you need to figure out very quickly an integration plan to make value out of the acquisition before she announces it to the market. I said, so in the next hour while we're gone, what I want you and your team to figure out is if you owned us and you had to make the investment accretive, what the heck would you do with us? When we got back an hour later, sushi in hand, those whiteboards looked like a scene out of the movie Pi. They had every idea in the world because Ann Livermore followed the magic of improvisation. She said, okay, I'll play. She took the offer. And her team came up with a lot of ideas. One of them, which was a $14 million piece of the deal we eventually struck, was the Powered by HP integration throughout all of Yahoo, specifically to engineers that buy servers using our targeting program. Powered by Yahoo Inc. was integrated across Maps and coupons at the time, and that was their idea. And this gets down to pet shop marketing, okay? If dad gets forced into naming the dog, mom and dad are taking the dog home every single time. If you get the customer to be creative, the things they produce will have an ego attachment, and it will give you a rich place to play. So the last thing I just want to tell you in conclusion, and it's been such a pleasure to talk to you guys today, is no one wants to buy from a stuffed suit. I mean, the Department of Comportment funnel stuffers of the world want to lead us to believe that we need to look really buttoned down to be an effective business person and have credibility in the world of sales. And that's just not true. This is who your customer wants to do business with. A playful, imaginative, cultural reference slinging kid that also has some serious skills when it comes to understanding what it takes to deliver a marketing solutions package. My whole project is about the idea that creativity has been wedged into product and marketing, and we deserve a chance to be creative too. So I challenge you to take that kid to work and have fun and see the potential of your business as big as the blue skies my granddad talked to me about when I was 9, when he gave me the permission to be what I now call a freak. Thank you guys so much. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.